Hi everyone, it's Vicky and today I'm creating a summery dress. I have once again been very kindly gifted some fabric from my mum and it's this beautiful floral muslin. It's everything I love on a fabric. It's soft, it's swishy, it moves around lovelily, it has all the flowers I adore and I can't wait to make something out of it. Now I've been wanting to make kind of running through the fields kind of dress for a little while. Something with a bit of gathering, something that's quite, I guess, cottagecore style. So let's see if I can. I'll show you the design and then we'll get sewing. The idea is a v-neck, nice slopey shoulders as always, and maybe really kind of, you know, floppy sleeves if that feels right, but I haven't decided yet. Most importantly, these bits I want, this is way too out of scale, hold on, this will just be a nice, maybe a slightly deeper scoop there at the back, but this front bit actually I want to come down lower because I want this to be gathered, the underbust, and then this kind of comes down to the waist like this. And then we'll just have either a circle skirt going down and then gathered another layer, blah blah blah, or can you see any of that? Yes, you can. Or even this could be gathered. We'll see. I'll try a few things because I do just mainly want it to be like a nice floaty skirt with lots of volume, so that's the idea. Please excuse the tree cutting, grass mowing, whatever is going on outside. I hope you can't hear too much. Either way, the way I'm going to go about this is I have a basic bodice block that I made ages ago, just following a YouTube tutorial. I cannot remember which one, but it's just a basic bodice block. So what I'm going to do is I've kind of folded it down at the waist because I don't need anything past the waist. So I'm going to copy these lines. They might change, but I do kind of want to know where my thingy is, and I'm going to do it with a marker so that you guys can see it better. So I'm just copying the shoulder lines and the sleeve lines for now. That's the width. I'm going to copy the center front as well because I just need a straight line. Can't be bothered to take out the ruler just yet. Cool. And the waistline. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin where my bust point is. This is the bust point. And I've also marked my underbust down here. So I'm just going to measure how much that is, and I'm going to measure that on myself again and see if that's accurate. And so this is theoretically somewhere from here down to there is where the gathering would be happening. So I'm going to have to divide the pattern into half, expand this so I can gather it up, basically, if that makes sense. So let me just kind of copy that over on this. What I'm going to do is, if I think about this from my waistline, I do want it to kind of come up at least like at the bottom somewhere here. I think maybe 15 centimeters up seems about right. Yeah, so I might just make like a rough estimate, try it out on the trial, and then, or on the toile, which is my kind of practice piece, and then see. I'm going to do 15 centimeters for now. That seems about right. But we'll see what happens. So this is the little underbust line. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a line that comes down. And then, because I do want this to go out mainly, but I do want it to come out and up a little bit. I feel like it's a bit more flattering, and also if any of this is a bit too long, I have a little more space to take it in here and it'll be a little bit more flattering. So I'm going to do this for now, and the idea is that then this, therefore, comes straight down to there, like that. So now I have my front edited, this line, the beautiful curve that goes all the way up here and then connects back up to the armpit, but all of this in the middle between, I want to say there, and therefore then the 10 centimeters again needs to be kind of gathered up to about I want to say about 8 maybe. We'll see how it kind of works out around here. Somewhere between there and there it'll be gathered. So this will all be kind of gathered up to make small space, maybe even further up. So all of that will be gathered. And then I also have this lovely shape underneath, which is going to form my kind of underbust to waist. I am going to cut this out properly. Let me just mark this center front and let me make a notch there. Always make notches on your work, people. so that I know where I'm attaching things, basically. So I have a little notch right in the middle of the underbust, so I know that's where I'm going to attach it. Let's make that a thing. Let me cut it out. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to make it out of a calico, just a fabric, so I can show you if it works, and then we'll make it. Now, cutting things out of the calico wasn't really an issue. I just cut out the top piece, just one of them, because I just needed to make sure that the gathering works, and then I folded the fabric evenly, as evenly as I could, and cut out the whole bottom piece so that I could align it and see if that all worked out. Now, my favorite way to gather, I know a lot of people do the double stitch and then they pull them on either side, but I actually much prefer the string in the middle zigzag stitch gather. I feel like it's a lot cleaner. You just have the one stitch, and yeah, it just feels nicer. So how that works is I'm going to put this string, which is just like a piece of yarn. It's not very stretchy, which is why I'm using it. I'm going to add it to the start of where I want to start gathering, and I'm going to zigzag stitch it along the gathering line all the way to the end. Then when I have the zigzag stitch, you just kind of pull on this together, if that makes sense. So let me just do that quickly and show you how that goes in the sewing machine. This kind of solid thread is now on that, and what I can do now very easily is pull on it. Hey, look at these gathers. It's so easy. It's such a nice and easy way to gather. You smush, you have a gather. It's nice and even. I find it a lot more even as well than the doubles, and it's a lot easier to move around and kind of maneuver wherever I need it to. You can always secure it on one side if you just want to pull from the other, if that makes it a lot easier. I just kind of leave it on either side, because I mean obviously it's going to get another stitch anyways, but that's a very smooth, lovely gather. So I'm going to set that into the bodice now and see if that does what I need it to do. Once you sew it in place, obviously you remove the thread. Okay, so I have this. It looks fantastic. This aligns exactly in the kind of right place, I think, where it's supposed to, so that's great. It's like not too low. This aligns beautiful, and like the gather looks lovely. I just had an idea that I could maybe even put a little pleat in there, potentially. We'll see, maybe not necessary. Either way, the armpit, this is very hard to kind of hold in place, hold on. The armpit, I feel like, comes up a bit too high, and that's okay. This I can cut without an issue, but I think that this has too much fabric. You see how the waist just kind of goes down, and when I actually kind of hold this into place, there's too much fabric here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to transfer that too much fabric, and I think that's about a centimetre, into this and tighten that up that way, so that when it comes down, maybe not that much, maybe a little bit, it's straight. It's a nice straight waistline. Yeah, just kind of moving that dart across. Otherwise, I think we're good. I think I'm quite happy with this. This is quite a nice straight line. That's all worked out. I can just do that on the pattern. That's not a problem. That's worked out and it looks very cute. I adjusted the pattern as I said, so I took a few centimeters from the sides so that I could kind of push them together a bit closer and lose that fabric in the middle, as I'm showing you right now. I also cut it into the new shape, and I took the armpit in by a little bit. I do these by hand usually, but obviously you could also use a curve. So I've had lunch and I am now back to the table. So what I have in front of me are all the pieces cut out. I have both of my front pieces, bodice I mean for now. I have both of my front pieces which need to be gathered. I have my midsection, and then I have both of my back pieces, which are not separated at the moment, but yeah, both of those, 1 and 2. I've also cut out a lining for the middle, because I thought that might work well, actually, and I have cut out lining for the back. I'm still probably leaving these be without a lining. I think it will be okay. We'll see. I can always add one afterwards, but I think I'll be fine. So fine I was, only just about, but going through this process, first of all, the fabric being what it is, it really started to stretch. So even though you can see me gathering here, and I did do a stay stitch, so on all the kind of curved edges of the fabric I did just a line of stitching, just a straight stitch kind of all across to keep it from stretching out too much and moving. So I did have the right idea. I gathered both. They fit in to the body, but only just about, and they were each very different. You can see me now comparing them and being very curious about why there's such a big difference. It was a bit discouraging, but I kind of stuck with it and continued with the bodice. I connected the top pieces to the centerpiece, and yeah, just kind of tried to do the best with what I could. I will soon come to the realization that I will indeed need some lining to help hold it all together, and that the fabric is not as easygoing as I thought. Okay, let's pray that this looks good. Oh, you know what? Ladies and gents, that actually looks fantastic. What does not look fantastic is how different this side is to this side. I don't think you can see it there where you are right now, but oh my goodness, is it a difference in real life? But that's okay. That's fine. We can make that work. Make that work. The actual structure of it is great, and everything else will be stronger. I think it's just this. Yeah. Anyways, on the other side. What I'm realizing is that it's not that I don't make mistakes anymore, because I do. She says, cutting the lining that she didn't think she would have to make. But it's that I know how to solve them, or at least, how to deal with them in a way that will function for what I need to do. So what I have is my original pattern bodice pattern. What I'm going to do, because all of this was added on for the gathering, and obviously I need it removed from the middle line now, which is where the gathering happens, but I don't want to gather the lining because it's unnecessary, basically. So I'm just going to make a dart instead, and I'm just going to make a dart that's the width thingy. It'll be a very ridiculous, very sharp dart, because The actual bust point I think is only about somewhere there. But basically I'm going to make a very wide dart that will then cinch that in. So that is the same shape on the inside as it is on the outside where it's been gathered, if that makes sense. I'll show you when it's all together so it makes sense, but that's what I'm trying to do and hopefully that will work to fit the best. So I'm hoping, because this looks pretty good and I think it matches the size almost. It's a little bigger, but it almost matches the size of the center. It's bigger by like, yeah, 2.5 centimeters. So it's not too bad. And it's fairly equal on both sides, which I'm happy about. That I can always cut down. That is not an issue. So now I have these. I am going to give everything a press just to make sure that everything is nice and even and solid and that the darts stay in their place. And then I am going to sew these right sides together, which is actually this way, so that that's my bodice. I'm leaving this out of it for now. So what I'm going to do, once I sew these right sides together, I'm then going to have a nice inside to those, and this is all going to be tidy and hidden in the seam. And then I am going to sew this onto here to hide everything, including this seam inside. I just want to make sure that these are as kind of clean as they can be, and I think if I already had this attached it would bother me. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll see you afterwards, because yeah, just to see if it worked or not. Okay, so I have done things in a peculiar order for reasons. What some of the reasons are, I want to understitch, so I've attached the lining to the front of the bodice, so that's kind of like lined. It's in a strange way, but I will understitch these, and I will not have any problem doing that because it will be nice and smooth. Also, I did it this way because this has moved and the shoulders are off and they're wonky, and this cotton is not. So I stitched this together to know that, for example, this one is clearly too long, while this one is clearly shorter. Because I know for sure that the cotton is even because it has a straighter grain, it's not as stretchy. So this way I could kind of even out the shoulders a little bit nicer. And also I can easily kind of understitch without having to worry about how I'm going to do it in the sleeves once that's in. And so I'm going to do that now. I will press it and understitch it, and then I will do this. Actually, I will do the same for the back first. So I've got my back pieces. Hold on. I've got my back pieces with the armholes, and I'm going to attach my lining to those as well. That's not the one. My lining to those as well. This way around, and again I'm only going to attach it on the back for now, so the actual back. Then all together I will attach the shoulders together so that it's nice and even all throughout, and then I'm going to do the rest. So it just gives me a bit more maneuvering space, and I'm quite happy with that decision, so I'm just going to do that now, and I'll show you the progress. These are the shoulder seams, finally. So, shoulder seams are done. What I have not shown you is the unpicking and resewing that I did. Because one of the... It's perfect. Very proud of myself. Because one of the sides just didn't really seem right. So I had to pick it up a little bit. And it's been a pain. But we now do have a front of sorts. The shoulders are closed of sorts. So what I need to do now is put the sleeves in. Where are my sleeves? There are my sleeves with a thingy, that's the front. So I'm gonna sew those in. Middle in the middle first, obviously. That's about half. So I'm gonna pin that half here. Now I don't know whether I should just sew this in you know, and just sew it in while I'm doing the lining as well, because I feel like why not? I'm going to be doing the same thing. Some of these pins are so dull. Really, really, really dull. It's kind of hard to work with. So for example, this one goes here. Right, and then should I just roll this up into my burrito so that these are then right sides together and just sew it in. Yeah, I should. I can't be bothered to do it in two. Okay, thank you for the advice. I appreciate it. In which case, let me just get, so this is roughly pinned in, and then I need to pin the burrito. So for the burrito method, what you do is basically you have your shoulder seams connected, usually. Preferably this would all be pressed as well, but I think it is, and I think I can press it when it's done. Your shoulder seams connected, and then so this is my back piece, this is my front piece. What I'm going to do, well, I'm going to burrito in the sleeve first of all. That's kind of like a big one for me particularly, but I'm then just going to take whatever I have here for the leftover. And there's nothing particularly untidy about this particular corner. I think, or I might press them open actually first. Yeah, I'm going to press the shoulder seams open first. But then when I do that, I'm just going to turn it over. This will then come right sides together with the other side. Might not look like it, but it is. It's just that I've got the sleeve in the way. And then that will get sewn shut. And then it will get whooshed through. So let me just press these straight, and then I'll do that for both of the shoulder seams, and then we'll have that closed. The armholes, that's what I mean. The armholes will be nice and lined, basically.